Well, howdy, partners. Let's head on down to Jupiter tonight and rustle us up a live audience. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! This episode is brought to you by FreshBooks.com. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Now, J-Man, the chat room is lighting up. They don't necessarily, well, let's just say they were surprised by the intro tonight.
Really? Yeah. Took them a little off guard?
Took them a little off guard, I think. Now, let's talk about something that took me off guard, and that's all that came out of Google.
We teased this a little last night. We got some of the notes yesterday from their keynote and stuff like that, but it went on again today. They had 2 full days of it, and even more great stuff came out today.
Chrome stuff today.
Yeah. Yesterday was really Android heavy.
Yep. Well, that kind of makes sense. And was it you that was telling me kind of about the layout at Google I/O?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
They're taking up 2 floors of this conference center at
the Moscone Center. That's actually what's behind us.
So you look at the map and they show the first floor and it's all divvied up into these little, like, this is the docs corner and this is where they're talking about Google Calendar, Google Music and everything like that. And you're like, oh, cool. There's so much going on. And then you switch to the second floor and it's Android.
The whole floor.
The entire floor.
So tonight's episode will have a lot to talk about Android, but we're going to also cover some of the cool stuff coming to Chrome. But why don't we kick off our conversation around Android with the stuff coming out around Honeycomb?
Sure.
We got Honeycomb 3.1, and Verizon Zoom owners, you guys are the lucky first, and then the Wi-Fi owners and the other guys will get that soon. But
maybe.
Well, I think they will. We'll see. But, one of the things they're adding, which is totally slick, and I think you're also going to see this coming to future versions of Android, is USB hub support.
Yeah.
So now, plug in your cameras, download your pictures.
Yep.
I think I mentioned that last night, but think about, you're out on your trip, and if you've ever had the problem when you go on a trip where you fill up your SD card, and then you kind of have this problem where I don't have any more space. You have to either go buy an SD or...
There aren't any Android devices out there right now that take SD cards directly, are there?
I don't think so.
So really, USB is the best option at this point.
That might not be true. I think maybe one of the new tablets at least takes SD, but like the phones and stuff, you're kind of SOL.
Right.
So if you could plug that in and just have it suck down the photos, because once you get it on the phone, you can do you can tweet the pics, you can upload them online, you can do all kinds of stuff that once you get it off your phone, or once you get it off the camera, you could never do.
Right.
So that's pretty neat. And then they also are talking about some other, I got a video of it, and I was, I don't know, underwhelmed when they start talking about features like resizable widgets and stuff like that.
Oh, really? I thought you might find that interesting.
I don't know, man. Widgets are kind of like a toy thing.
Yeah,
We're showing a video, and you have things like your calendar, and the nice thing about the widgets is you can put it right there on the desktop of the tablet device. But I don't know. Doesn't it ring kind of?
It sounds like they're just trying to squeeze features out of a dying breed, but that's because they're also aiming. It sounds like they're doing a big push towards their next version of this, which is the ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, and of course, ice cream sandwich.
What a silly name.
It's got an awesome logo, though.
Yeah.
It's got a cool logo. Ice cream sandwich is going to be like the combination of the Honeycomb Android and the regular Android that can run on phones and will also run on tablets.
That's one of the things that actually got me a little excited about their keynote was when they started talking about this, and they talked about it in several other ways, kind of subtly, but when they got on board with talking about ice cream sandwich, it really sounded that like they're trying to do away with the fragmentation.
Yeah, in a big way. I think so.
It's not just the case that they had to split things off so they have a phone and a tablet type, which will be coming together again in ice cream sandwich, but in every different way. Like the fact that you need so many different versions on different phones because of different screen sizes and different device setups. Yep. Well, in ice cream sandwich, they're planning to have one OS that supports all of that.
Yeah, which is great for developers because it's a lot less moving target. It's a lot less of a moving target.
Well, it's great for the market in general, for the Android market.
I wish it was sooner. We don't have any dates. Oh, the other thing they're going to write, the other ship they're going to write in ice cream sandwich is they're going to go the open source route.
Oh yeah,
I think they go under either the Apache or the BSD license.
Color me a little skeptical. They'll probably open source a lot of it, but Google has always beaten the open source drum, and they frequently fall shy of actually living up to it.
The one thing that's never, as far as I know, going to be open source in Android is the application layer of the Google stuff, like Gmail, the Google Market, and all those Google apps. Those are closed source.
Right.
It's just the underlying OS, but that's still something that they took a lot of heat for with Honeycomb, because Honeycomb is not open source.
Right.
And they took a lot of heat from me, especially on the Linux Action Show. I was like, that S needs to end.
Yeah, if they would have kept going down that road, they would have lost a lot of supporters in the Linux markets.
Did you see one of the things they're talking about in ice cream sandwich, which J-Man, you got like the 3DS, 3D or whatever it is out there, You got all this different stuff. But all these tablets out there, they all have these front-facing cameras, and they're pretty high resolution. And you can use those to track the facial features. You know, like your nog, your schnoz, and your eyeballs.
And you know that stuff's already built in because of facial recognition and photo taking and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, good point. It's just got to do it at a faster rate now.
Right.
So they're going to use that though to know where you're looking at the tablet, and they're going to be able to change the image in such that it will look 3D based on where you hold the thing. Now, there's already been some demos of this on the iPad 2 as well. I don't know if you've seen those, but Google's actually going to.
I'm not surprised. I haven't seen them, but
that's just some dude. That's just some dude working on that.
Oh.
But this is going to come from Google. So that you know, I mean,
I'm still just. I know that.
It's gimmicky, but what if you could add just a little bit of 3D to a game and you don't have to have any special hardware?
At this point, I'm still considering tablets too immature of a market for wide-scale gaming. It's very much, in my opinion, more for like casual games, and I don't see a big market for 3D in those. So maybe in another 3 or 4 years, we could get excited about 3D on handheld devices.
I would love to see something cool, but you're right. I got to see the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
You got to see that pudding, and it's got to taste delicious.
Another thing that they did with that facial tracking, though, is that like for video conferencing and stuff like that, if you use a device that uses ice cream sandwich, it can auto like zoom to the people that are talking. It recognizes who is talking by watching their mouths.
In the what, J-Man? In the new video conferencing support that they're going to have in there.
Yeah.
It's actually coming to Google Talk in the latest gingerbread phones as well, but they had kind of a cute tongue-in-cheek demo where the guy was like having floating balls. Ha ha. But the neat thing about that video chat is a lot of pro end like Cisco systems can do this now, or Polycom systems can do this. They know who's talking. But think about just putting a tablet, right here in front of us, right? And we're just sitting here having a conversation, and it can just auto.
Or let me paint even a wider picture for you. If ice cream sandwich is going to be something that unifies the Android platform across the board, then that's probably going to eventually make it to Google TV.
Ooh.
If you have some sort of camera hooked up to your Google TV, I don't know if the device comes with one natively, then you can do video conferencing with even larger groups through your television
like that.
With facial recognition, so it can focus on the speakers no matter where they are in the room.
That could be really cool. Some of this stuff actually, if you take it out of the phone realm and you look at it, a lot of it could be kind of cool in the Google TV space, because they're talked a little bit about Google TV. They said there's going to get another update in the summer. There's even going to be new hardware. The original players are still involved, and you add that 3D support. You add this video calling support. Okay, what about that? Well, you'd have to have a camera on the Google TV, but what if you put a little webcam up there and you could have that kind of thing on your TV?
The three-dimensional support? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be really cool, I think. So the other thing that, I don't know, what do you think, J-Man? This is also kind of announced along the line of the new Android stuff, is they're going to be introducing movies and stuff to the Google Marketplace.
At first, it sounds like a really good idea, because who doesn't love watching movies on their mobile devices, right? That just sounds like a great idea. It's really cool.
There's definitely situations where, like, you definitely want to be able to grab something on the go. But I don't know, man.
Then when you start thinking about the fact that Netflix already exists
for like $8 a month.
Yeah, $8 a month, you can get unlimited streaming from their entire online catalog, which is like millions of titles.
I gotta say though, this is a kind of nice interface. Like, check this out, dude. You hover over the King's Speech, a nice little pop-up comes up.
Netflix does the same. I don't know if their mobile app does the same.
You're right. Netflix does do the same, but this gives you the Rotten Tomato rating.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
And then you can get a 24-hour pass for $3.99. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Why would you do this when you could just buy you could pay for Netflix? I guess because there's not a Netflix Android app.
Well, and there might be library differences. Like, I don't know if King's Speech is available on Watch Instant on Netflix.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, not everything is on Watch Instant on Netflix. Right. Yeah, and I always look at all of these app markets where you got iTunes. I've got Amazon Prime I could always go to as a Prime member. You got this. It seems like the only real holes in my life these kinds of things would fill would be like 3 times a year I'm at a hotel room and I've got an evening to kill and I don't want to pay $15 for on demand from the TV.
But if you got every one of those Android users, which is like 500,000 Android devices activated right now or something, it was in the keynote yesterday.
It's a lot more than that. It's a lot.
If every one of them used 3 purchases a year, that's a lot of money.
I think it might be 500,000 activated monthly or something. I mean, it's an S ton of phones, so you got to figure that's a huge market.
Blah blah blah.
I don't know if the chat room knows that one.
But still, what I'm saying is they don't necessarily need to go with high volume.
Right.
To get a good return on investment. Just having it there.
It's also a hole in the whole Android ecosystem. When you buy an iPad, you get it with the entire iTunes catalog, better or worse. You get it with the entire iTunes catalog as a potential feature for you.
Right.
When you buy an Android device, it is barren of a way to actually legitimately put movies on it.
Right.
There's not like a way unless you rip your own DVDs and copy it over to the device.
Yeah, you mentioned, I wanted to bring that up again, that Netflix does not currently have an Android app.
I'm sure they're working on it, but yeah.
But it's possible that Google is pushing back so that they can launch their own movie market here. I mean, can they keep things like that off the Android market?
Yeah, the Google TV runs Android and it has Netflix. So it's like, I know that Google I know that Netflix has claimed it's a DRM issue. I don't know if the truth is to that. This is definitely a nice to have.
There are some really cool things about this as well, because it will be integrated on through their websites and through Google services.
The movie service?
You can go on the web and browse for a movie, click rent, and it will instantly be available on your mobile device. Anything that you have synced up to your Google account. Was
it this too, where you can pin it to your device too, so you can watch it offline?
That basically streams it in the background and then downloads it.
Pre-caches it. Yeah. This is the same catalog that they now have for the YouTube rentals they just announced. So when you rent, so it's the same catalog, the YouTube movie rentals in this, and I believe it's all the same stuff. So if you watch it on your device and then you want to watch it on your desktop, you actually watch it through like the YouTube interface. That's kind of neat. Like Heck G in the chat room points out right now. He says, I wouldn't mind being able to rent Star Trek episodes on my Google device. I actually kind of agree with him. That could be nice just to have a cache of Star Trek that I'd want to pull out every now and then. Why don't we talk about just a couple of more things about the Android before we move on and get to the Chrome stuff? And for some reason, the Chrome stuff almost has me more excited.
Really?
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe it just hasn't moved enough recently, so now it's nice to hear some things. Okay, I think back to Android, though, because this interests me.
This also seemed to interest the folks on Twitter that were chatting with you, right?
It did, yeah. Now, I wasn't actually interested until one of them sent me a note to this particular article that Chris is showing.
So this is like they call it like the Open Accessory Kit.
Something like that. Open Accessory Development Kit.
Yeah, and it's basically to be able to attach hardware devices to an Android device and have an automatic communication take place so that the software gets set up that's necessary. And
now, the fact that this hardware is so streamlined and apparently easy to incorporate means that you can potentially, as a device maker, create an Android-capable device no matter what you're doing. I mean, you could have your motorcycle be an Android device. They showed it off with a treadmill.
Yeah,
be an Android device. You could have your toaster become an Android device. I don't know exactly why, but you could.
Maybe you'd have like different toaster apps to toast your toast differently.
Sure. Or maybe just set up a link timer so you can take your mobile with you in the next room so that when your toast pops, it alerts you on your phone.
Here's what I think is funny. Google is so about NFC and near-field communications. It just doesn't seem like their direction to do something where you plug in. But I do like the idea of like going up to an exercise bike and putting my phone in and getting like all of my stats on my phone. Although it also seems like I don't know if it's possible, but it seems like if I could just put malware on that exercise bike, and then when somebody plugs in their phones, I install tracking software.
Well,
that auto install feature kicks in, automatically loads tracking software.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Or always practice safe docking, I guess. It just seems like.
But okay, let me take that just one step further though. Let's say you are a fitness guy, you like to go to the gym on a regular basis, and you don't always use the same machine. But now, because you've got your stats follow you on your Android phone. You know how long you walked on your last time, what your target heart rate is, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because no matter, and you don't have to have it all on the same machine.
Now, Eighth Doctor is saying that Android doesn't support auto install, but this seems to be a new feature that they've introduced with this new.
I'm sure it still asks you for permission, but
I must because that's how anytime you install an app on Android, it says it can access all of these.
In fact, I think in some of the links that we've got, it's got a list, a picture of the confirmation. I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Now, this the last Android thing we're going to talk about in tonight's episode could potentially have the biggest long-term positive impact on general consumers out there. There's been an announcement that hardware manufacturers have come together under an agreement, and the details are a little sketchy at this point, but it appears to be that they're going to work on supporting devices with software updates for 18 months.
Well, the way that Google has presented it is that they're going to make it a requirement that these carriers have to support their devices for 18 months. Here's the loophole. As long as the device can support the software update.
That is a loophole the size of a semi-truck. Because you just say...
that wouldn't run well.
No. Our internal testing showed that was not optimal for a consumer experience. we've decided not to release it.
Well, and who knows if everybody's actually on board with this, because as you said, the details are a little bit sketchy. But
yeah,
let's take an optimistic approach here and imagine what if this is the reality.
So the deal is 18 months, every Android device sold, it's going to get software updates for that window of time.
Mm-hmm.
And
that means let's talk about your Evo a little bit.
My Evo.
Because now, as you were telling me before the show, you've actually gone out and hacked your Evo, your Evo, so that you could get gingerbread on there.
Yeah.
Because the vendor itself only doesn't support that.
I don't know for sure, but I think it's like, I bought, my Evo is like 9 months old, but it'd been out for a few months when I got it, but it was like one of the premier Android phones. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's gotten this really good treatment that it has gotten. It's gotten one major OS update to go from 2.1 to 2.2, I think, and then it's gotten some bug fix update. Okay. And that's like it. And Gingerbread's out there, which runs faster, which uses less battery, which turns my phone into a better phone. And I can say that because I have Gingerbread on it right now.
Right.
And it's just so frustrating that they wouldn't want to ship an update that makes that device I bought a better device that works better for me.
Now, do you think it's because the carrier is just too much work for them?
Yeah, there's a whole support thing there. They can't guarantee it across the board. And they also, at the end of the day, a lot of people will just buy a new phone to get the new OS. That's the more old school model of
and the
phones.
Carrier gets more money out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really until the iPhone came along where Apple said, we are going to deliver software updates to the end user. I mean, you have an iPhone 3G. Mm-hmm. You have the latest iPhone OS on there, right?
Well, I haven't updated it because I'm afraid it'll keep degrading the quality.
Super slow, but you could.
I could, yeah.
You should. It'd be balls. I'm pretty sure it'd be balls, Jeremy, but you could. And that's just not even an option on my Evo, which is an 8-month-old phone.
Yeah.
And yours is like a 3-year-old phone.
Right.
So that really frustrates me.
Look at that support.
So this should turn that around. This
also helps with what I was talking about earlier about the fragmentation of the market. Because if Google continues, or if the Android people continue to put out newer, better, faster, better battery life versions of these things, of their core OS, and then if every phone company, if every carrier out there has to be on board with that, it means that Android is it's a known quantity. It's not a variable. It's not I'm running Android. What version? You
would hope that once it's been into effect for a few years, you could at least as a developer kind of target an 18-month hardware predictability cycle.
It would be easier for developers to.
Yeah.
Also to get their apps on more different devices.
I hope this takes off. It sounds like it's in the early stages. It sounds like one of these things that kind of went up on stage, talked a little bit about because they know people want to hear about it, but they don't have it all worked out.
Right. It was actually a very brief part of their presentation.
If you're watching the video version, the J-Man here has a slide up, and it's all the big names from the big cell phone providers to the big hardware manufacturers. That's a lot of egos to work out.
Even one I've never heard of. What is Vodafone?
Vodafone is across the pond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But a big carrier.
Dang foreigners.
But you know what, J-Man? That's all the Android stuff we have. But speaking of better, faster, and stronger, I want to tell everybody out there about FreshBooks.com.
Stronger? Really?
Oh, yeah. FreshBooks makes me stronger, J-Man, and I'll tell you why. Because I cut.
What?
I cut.
You cut?
I cut because of invoicing. Invoicing is hell. It's like a little micro version of doing taxes every single day. I'm a contractor, and I have clients that I invoice. If you're a small business, or maybe you're a contractor out there, or you just need to bill people for your work, FreshBooks.com is easy online invoicing that actually feels like it was something made in the year 2011. It's amazing, people. It doesn't feel archaic. Go over to FreshBooks.com. If you have 3 clients or less, you get a free account. And when you sign up, there's a spot in there they say, hey, how did you hear about FreshBooks? Put in Jupiter, and you get entered in for it. Ready for it? Ready?
Cake.
Free birthday cake drawing.
Yeah, birthday cake, not just a regular cake.
Well, I'm calling it a birthday cake because that makes it a little extra special, especially when it's not your birthday.
Birthday cakes are better than regular cake.
Yeah, and I like getting stuff when it's not my birthday, but pretending like it's my birthday. So anyways, FreshBooks.com is great. And another feature I just want to tell you about tonight is I always have to give people estimates. Hey, Chris, how many hours is it going to take you to rebuild that web server? That kind of stuff, you know? And it's like
And people want it in writing so they can show it to their boss.
Yeah, and you know what I do every time? And I have done this kind of work for years. 14 years I've had to do this kind of stuff. And you know what I have done for 14 years until I found FreshBooks? I would go find templates. At first, I would find just any template I could find. Then as the technology evolved, I went to Office Online templates. And then, of course, I abandoned that and went to Google Docs templates, trying to find good templates. And they've got it built right in. FreshBooks.com. I love it. Check it out.
Oh, they have estimate templates?
They have estimate templates. So you go in there, you say, I think my work's going to take this long. I think and my labor costs this much. I might need to buy this hardware. Calculate, it builds it out. And then when you're done, you invoice it. Genius. It just makes so much sense. So check it out, and thanks to FreshBooks for supporting Jupiter at night.
All right, now it's time to talk about Chrome, right? Are we on Google Music?
Let's just quick mention of Google Music because it kind of bridges the gap between the Chrome stuff and the Android stuff. So I thought it was the perfect segue.
Now, Google Music was announced last year.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about it this year?
Because we're suckers. Because that's how they roll, man. Like, I don't know. But now it's in private beta, and they've got a Windows client out there where you upload. You know, it smells a lot like the Amazon Cloud Storage. I think maybe a little nicer interface and potentially some better long-term advantages.
Possibly. But, okay.
I'm lukewarm on Google Music.
There's no word on the final pricing, but they said
could be free.
Free for now. That was the actual wording in their slide presentation in the keynote.
They say that about Google Voice's built-in calling in Gmail, too. It's free for now.
Maybe they just want to keep the door open in case they need to charge for it?
What it could be is Apple is likely at WWDC going to launch a music streaming service that is fully licensed with the music industry. That means they went and they shook hands on every single deal.
Jeez, that's a lot of legwork.
It's a lot of legwork, and it's likely to be that if that is true, that will force Google into doing the same, and at which point they will have to charge for the service. So Google is probably aware that's going to happen and is trying to keep that door open for them. I really am lukewarm on all of these things. I've tried Cloud Drive. We talked about it. I don't know, dude.
I mean, whenever I see a new something like this come out, like I always try to figure out a way if it would work into my daily workflow. There are times where I'm sitting at home working on something and I'll load up either, well, it's usually iTunes
or Pandora.
It's usually Last.fm or iTunes. That's really what I work with.
I'm a Pandora guy.
But that's my choices. So the only way that Google Music would be better is, for me, if it integrates directly into my browser in some way so that I'm not running a separate program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we have seen some mock-ups that show that it's going to have, if you go over to music.google.com, you can see in the top bar that it's also got those standard links for Gmail, Calendar, Docs,
So they're going to integrate it like all those other services.
Right. So if that takes it another step further and it becomes like maybe like a bottom bar that stays open as an overlay over my other Google stuff, I don't know. It could be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that way.
Oh, interesting, dude. So you're saying like if it does this, like if you're watching the video version.
Yeah, if that bottom bar stays open all the time while I go play in Google Docs or Gmail or whatever.
Because
I've always got at least one of those open.
I bet you'll see that. I'll bet you will see that come as a Chrome extension.
Yeah, well, I use Firefox, so they're going to have to win me over in another way.
You converted to You fully converted to 4.
I did.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the stuff I'm hearing about Chrome browser out of I.O., in fact, we didn't even put it in our show notes here. It's really underwhelming. They're not making me want to switch back.
I hear you. So I'm a little lukewarm on Google Music, but this is definitely one we'd like to hear your feedback. Leave us a comment wherever you're watching this, because should we be excited about Google Music? Are we missing something?
There's one thing that sounds kind of neat if they've got the right brain behind it. It has an auto mix creator that actually listens to the whole song and then creates like... So if you have a huge music library, you could say, go find me something that sounds like this, and it'll just go through your library, get everything like that, put together a party mix or whatever you want.
That might actually get me, to be honest.
If it's got a good brain, yeah.
That's where Pandora is awesome, except for sometimes Pandora gets off course.
Right.
And I had this great... in Stoked, we play this Ronald Jenkins, right?
Ronald Jenkins, yeah.
Ronald Jenkins. Mm-hmm. And I decided to make a Pandora station based on him.
Mm-hmm.
And
So did I.
I thumbed up the wrong thing a couple of times, and now I have somehow Pandora's decided that I want music from movie themes all the time. So that channel is just full of movie themes.
Okay, that doesn't entirely suck, but it's not Ronald Jenkins.
Exactly. So this might keep the thing back on track a little bit, and maybe with some restrictions might come something I enjoy a little more. All right, but I think is that probably everything? Should we move on to ChromeOS?
Yeah, let's do that.
Now, this is an interesting beast.
Well, they've announced a few new features that Chrome is going to entail. Now, Chrome, I thought was going to be entirely on the cloud, but they're starting to add more features that make it more like a computer, like a desktop or a laptop or a netbook. Actually, really,
the one we're showing right now in the picture here is a file open dialog box.
Now, I think that they kind of had to do this because they're also integrating USB device support, so that you can use things like cameras, phones, plug them up, or printers. Yeah. So, in order to use any sort of device, you would have to have some sort of local storage just as a go-between, if nothing else.
I also heard
a way to access the manage the files on those devices.
It sounds like also the Dropbox guys were at Google I/O, and they were talking about one of the new features in the new Chrome OS is this API, this storage API that can take advantage of cloud storage, like Dropbox. Dropbox has an API set that you can use to publish files to.
Oh.
That's what all the mobile devices use, all of this API. And so you could potentially, in this file open dialog box, be actually browsing your Dropbox storage online. So not a local Dropbox copy, but the actual online cloud version of your Dropbox, and save and open directly to it.
Why wouldn't they just do that then?
Yeah, right? I know Google Docs can act as a drive.
They're also allowing offline access of Google Domain and Google Calendar, which could be nice. I actually really enjoy that feature on my phone.
But let's
for those
be honest.
Things. But it's a netbook.
It's a netbook.
It's a Chrome OS, which is supposed to be cloud. It's like that's the entire selling point. You don't hold anything on your local drive.
Blisk in the chat room has the CR48 laptop. That's pretty cool. This is underwhelming.
I just feel like if you're going to go cloud, go cloud. If that's what you're going to sell it on, then go cloud. Otherwise, you're just making a netbook with
what it was?
A lack of functionality.
Everybody's like, why would I buy a netbook that if I go on the plane, I can't write a doc or read my email or write email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Valid point.
But there's some new hardware. It actually looks good, including even like a little thing they're calling the Chrome box, a little desktop unit. Really low power kind of stuff. But see, here's the thing, dude, is these netbooks, while they look really nice, are just netbooks. And like the Samsung one is rocking a $499 price tag with 3G.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just buy an iPad if you wanted something.
Or $429 with Wi-Fi. I mean, that's just way too much for a netbook these days.
I don't get it.
The market for this is grandma.
Yeah, because she's not going to pay that much.
It's an instant
That's
on.
2 months of Social Security checks.
Hey, plus,
poor Granny's got to eat.
Plus, Grandma wants to play her Wii Roll, Jeremy. She only got that on the iPad. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, but sidebar real quick. Another thing big thing was announced. Like they put a bunch of fanfare into this. Angry Birds free in Chrome OS.
Yay! I kind of want one of these just because I want one, but I don't want to pay.
It would be a toy.
I don't want to pay more than $200.
Right.
So this just it would be a toy. I could see that Chrome desktop though working in corporations.
That sounds like what they're marketing it for.
I could see that.
Especially because they've been talking about getting one for really low, like $20 a month per desktop. And then doesn't that sound great if you run a big business? Or even a small business.
Yeah. There's some businesses out there that just go on lease programs with large distributors like CDW, and they just lease all their equipment anyways because it's a business write-off.
So if you contact Google and say, I need 300 Chrome boxes.
$20 a month. And then
why not?
Yeah. And then it's auto-patched. It's up to date.
There's no virus protection necessary. It's a complete lack of IT headache, really.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really good solution for them.
The catch is that the user would have to be able to have all of everything they use would have to be a web version of it.
Which means if the company itself has any proprietary software, it would have to be redeveloped for Chrome OS.
Yeah.
Or as a web app.
Yeah, as in a web app, yeah. So it's got to be a pretty narrow use case for that. But
there's always a catch.
Yeah. That's all right, though, because Google TV actually looks like it's going to finally get some love. Now,
I'm getting a little excited about
Google
this.
TV has been pooped on.
Yeah.
I mean, people just got up and they took a big dump on it.
Yeah.
But I think maybe we're going to see the whole Android philosophy here, like where the G1 shipped years ago and it sucked. Yeah. It was a bad device. Google TV shipped and got a lot of bad reviews. I never personally used one other than at Best Buy. I used it at Best Buy and I was like, yeah, I'm not
Why
getting
would I
that.
get that?
Yeah. So that's good enough for me. But the update, new OS, they're going to like a Honeycomb version.
If it's not Honeycomb, it sure looks like it.
And they're getting apps.
Yeah.
Whoa. Apps on my TV.
They're bringing the whole Android market to Google TV.
Now, I hope this means I can actually cut the cord and I can just have an ABC app, an NBC app, an HBO app.
Yes.
Right? And I just get the app.
I would pay a lot for those.
I know, and then I wouldn't need cable. It's just a la carte. What I want, I'll get over the net via the app. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That would be nice. And if they throw some extra storage
to the
in
is app. Now, another thing that they're talking about bringing to that is multi-screen app support. This sounds awesome. For Google TV, imagine, this is the example that they painted, poker, where your TV is the table and your mobile device is your hand. And you can play with multiple people.
Oh.
You have your cards in your hand on your mobile device.
Oh, man.
And then the table is on the TV.
That's a buy. That would be a buy because that just, oh, man. That would be so great. And that's just poker. You could do anything. You could do electronic Monopoly that way.
What do you want? Yeah,
Monopoly.
Right.
I want Monopoly, J-Man. I'll get a little worked up.
Oh, D&D.
Oh, D&D.
You have your character sheet in your hand.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what's already on the Zoom is Vendetta Online, the space MMO.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Drive it with your mobile while it's displayed on your television.
Okay. That, plus you combine the fact that they're adding Xbox 360 controller support to Honeycomb
through their USB support,
and Ice Cream Sandwich up on the TV, you could potentially be getting. I mean, at least it's not going to be as good probably as an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3, but at least you could have your one box that does your multimedia and your casual gaming.
Right.
Ooh.
And all your music streaming because you got Google Music is so awesome, right?
Actually, why not? Because you probably have that hooked up to your entertainment system.
Well, and it's all cloud-based. Once your music's on Google Music, then it's on any device that you own.
Oh, man. I really like the idea of that multi-display stuff. That could be really exciting.
Yep.
I'm always bummed out that I don't go to Google I.O. because the swag from Google I.O. is always of the epic.
Well, and let me point out that the ticket prices are only like $300 or $400.
I thought it was like $500, but
they're relatively cheap compared to the swag you get.
Well, yeah. I mean, so on the first day, people got Galaxy tabs.
The 10.1.
The new one.
Yeah.
Not even out really in the market yet.
I don't think it'll be out till next month.
There was something like, I want to say like 500,000 attendees. No, 100,000?
I think they only gave up like 8,000 of these devices. So maybe not everybody got them.
I'm way overshooting it, but I remember it's a ton of devices they got. So it's
5,000 attendees.
5,000. That was the number. Boom, yeah. Boom. Anyways, early impressions too actually seem to be pretty positive on the new tab. So that's cool, and it looks like a pretty nice device.
I'm waiting to see an actual in-depth review. Most of them are just like first impression type stuff at this moment.
Yeah. Then the other thing they got is they handed out some of the new Chrome notebooks.
Yeah.
So, man. Talk about some decent swag.
No kidding.
I mean, that's stuff you could walk away and together you
know when we go to PAX and they give us T-shirts?
Yeah.
I want to take a poop on those T-shirts now.
And throw the badge we get at it on it and then light it on fire compared to this. You could turn around and sell this stuff for a collective over $1,000. You double your what you spent on the whole conference.
Yeah.
Probably though once you factor in the trip and the hotel.
Yeah, the travel and food, all the hookers, that you have to.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, maybe you just pay the hookers in Galaxy tabs.
That's a good idea.
I like that. Now, should we tease about what we were thinking about doing tomorrow night?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
you're okay with it?
It's up to you. It's your show.
No, it's a shared show. It's a shared show. It's just okay, you guys. I have a secret that I'm not exactly in the closet about.
A secret identity?
If you've been watching the live stream, you know that I'm a Smallville fan. Sorry.
Sadly,
I put that out there. I'm a Smallville fan. And the last episode of Smallville. I mean,
the last episode ever.
It's Friday night. Tomorrow night, or wait, no. 2 nights from now. And it's not that Smallville's an amazing show, but I have been watching it since the first episode.
Well, and it's 10 seasons, right?
Yeah.
So that's not insignificant.
No. And also, Wednesday night, we didn't have a science night because we got some big stuff in the works, and we decided to take a week off. But stay tuned for more on that. But Mars Base is also a Smallville fan.
No way.
Hey, so is Dr. Kaz. Look at that. Dr. Kaz in the chat room is also a Smallville fan. So, hey, look at that. So is Doxum. We got some Smallville lovers in there. That's awesome. So we're going to do a Smallville episode, a tribute to the Smallville. So if you've got any thoughts on that, good or bad.
Kind of a retrospective on where they've come from and why I stopped watching in season 2.
Yeah. And I know why Brian hates it, so I might bring that up too and all that kind of stuff.
But then also just the fact that this is an end of an era.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not enjoy it that much. It might not even be, in your opinion, the best Superman ever. But it's the end of an era.
And put this in perspective, if you were a Star Trek Enterprise fan, they premiered around the same time.
Yeah.
So if Enterprise, which it wouldn't have stayed on the air this long, but if it had stayed on the air this long, it would also be reaching its 10th season.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we won't just be talking about Smallville. So if you don't like the show, there will be plenty of other content for you.
But definitely leave us a comment if you do have an interest on the Smallville topic, because I want to read them all before tomorrow night's show.
Yeah.
We had some interesting comments, or some funny comments on last night's episode too, so thanks you guys to all of those. We went through and read them all, and they are hilarious. We've been reading them on the live stream, so be sure to join us at jblive.tv at 8 p.m. Pacific tomorrow if you want to get your thoughts in on the Smallville episode, because, well, we'll be taking them, as punishing as I'm sure they will be. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for watching tonight's episode of Jupiter Night, and we'll see you tomorrow night.